All right. Hey, how's it, everybody? It is right around 5 p.m. West Coast time. I'm going to call it 2 p.m. Hawaii time, 8 p.m. on that there East Coast, and 7 p.m. for our Central Time folk. I am Mad Statter today, and this is Chatter with Statter. Sorry for taking so long to get here. I had a whole new video that I found today of the whales, and I thought I'd share it with you. That was some southern resident pod, it was not identified, swimming along in the Salish Sea all together as one big happy family. And at the end, I think there was a couple orcas maybe having sex under there. I'm not really quite sure what that camera caught, but I wanted to share it with y'all. So looks like we have got plenty of people in the house because we had plenty time to gather the crowds a-coming. So Shock here with that schedule and probably going to be scarce because she's been working on other videos. And we've got Terry who rated in with a party of 5, including Katie Zora and Pennell Writes Things. Let's see here. Mr. and Mrs. Aloha Friday won't be very chatty because it's dinner time. That makes sense. Let's see here. What else? We've got Pennell, we've got Terry, we've got eMusic saying aloha. We have got Verity saying, whew, here, much better here. Aloha all. Yes. I don't know what was going on there, but here is going to be better because you were right, Verity. I think those whales were snuggling, as it were. I really do. I think you caught that, didn't you? And it looks like we've got Picola T saying aloha to the chatterers. And Terry in Scotland come in with 1,000 biddies. Thank you so much, Terry. Pennell saying aloha to Ashes, Dusty, and Leo. Ashes is right here within arm's reach, but she's looking mighty finicky, so I'm going to maybe not broach that topic yet with her. And Rick in this house saying, how's it? All right, so it looks like we've got most of our folk here, the usual crowd, and it is Wednesday, and yeah, you know, the world's going to hell in a handbasket, and here we are hanging out together, pretending like everything is fine. And that is exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to learn about some birds and some bees. We're not learning about bees. We're going to learn about birds. We're going to learn about other things that live in the trees. We're going to continue our topic of corn stuff. And let's see here, Terry in Scotland coming in with it. Looks like my bracelets are on the way. It turns out every won't ship to a post office box, but the Royal Mail will, provided the parcel is tracked. Got it. Well, actually, the post office box that I have, if I'd been thinking, I would have done this, but I wasn't thinking. The post office box that I have does actually have a street address associated with it, so private carrier services can deliver. I just didn't think of including that part of the post office or the address, so apologies, Terry, for that. It could have perhaps been easier, but alas, the Royal Mail, it's being tracked. Everything is good. And Darlene is also in the house. Woo, I made it. And Midnight Frequency Radio, I feel like when you wrote that, it would be said like this. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. Because that's exactly how it feels right now. Everything is fine. So, all right, we've got the dangerous topic off the table. Let's go get the party started with our black kitties, and then we'll see what we want to talk about, all right? Let's see. You got it, Verity. Corn, Chapter 2. This time it's personal. Regular masa. Masarepa. 2 different things. What is it? The hair is masa. What is it? The masa harina, masa flour. Masa harina. This is the arapa masa. Masa rapa. And The difference, in case it wasn't made clear, because I wasn't clear on it, so I pretty sure I did not elucidate this very well because I didn't even understand it as we were on this thing. So there's this whole thing called nixtamalization or something like that. Shock typed the word out last time beautifully. And that is where you treat the corn with some sort of alkaline solution, be it through lye, be it lime, be it soda ash, be it whatever. And that is how hominy is made. And basically what you do to make masa is you grind up that wet stuff and you end up with a dough that when you dry that dough out and grind it up, you end up with this. This is the masa harina. This is masa flour. Now this is masa arepa. And this is corn that hasn't been through the nixtamalization process. Thank you. It hasn't been through that process, and it was turned into a dough and then dried out and then ground into a flour. And so that is the difference between this one and this one. And apparently the nixtamalization, Shock just wrote up there how to really say it or what it's spelled like, is that if you, this sort of like makes the flour more stretchy and gluten-y, even though it's gluten-free. I think I'm saying it right. The nixtamalization. I think I'm saying it right. So this makes it a little bit more stretchy. So it's good for like tortilla. And then this is a little bit puffier. And so it's better for the arepas. And by the way, I watched a billion different videos about arepas, and every single person pronounced it differently. Both native Spanish speakers, English speakers, everybody has a different way of saying that word. So I'm saying it wrong, but I'm also saying it right, okay? Just depends on who's saying it, okay? But anyway, so these are supposed to be fluffier and are only meant for the arepas. Because you want the fluffiness of the arepas, of the flour, of the whateverness. And hey, Robert Platinum, good to see you, your new favorite streamer. Well, we are taking up with a little bit of a topic that we left off last stream, but we will be talking about other things too, because trust me, this stream is not normally about cornmeal or instant masa. But basically, though, both of these things are dough that it's instant dough to make other stuff. It's dried up. All you need to make your things is water. Just add water to whatever's in here. You can create your little dough, and then you make your tortilla with the press. You make your gordita with the hands. You make your empanada. I don't know how you make your empanada. I don't make the empanada. But yeah, nixtamalization improves the, I don't know if it's, yeah, it improves the nutritional quality, because from what I understand, and Shock, you probably know way better than me, it somehow does a chemical thing to the corn that makes the corn easier to digest. So we actually get the nutrition that's in there. Because I'm sure you guys, and pardon me, too much information, I know, but I'm sure you guys have experienced eating, say, corn on the cob, and the next day you realize, oh, some of that corn didn't get fully digested. Obviously. You know what I'm talking about? So it becomes clear that obviously something about corn is a little bit difficult to digest. And so hominy is basically corn that has been treated with that nixtamalization process. Oh, I'm getting good at that word. It's not nearly as hard as acetaminophen. Anyway, so somebody, I don't know who figured it out, but somebody figured out that the alkaline solution makes the corn easier to digest. But I figured I had to finally go buy this, even though I don't have a tortilla press. But you know what? I might go buy a tortilla press, even though I just bought 32 tortilla that are in my fridge, but whatever. It comes in and it goes right back out. Yes, exactly. And some things do that, but corn in particular, which I think is why the people who depended so much on corn for their main staple realized that if we do this, we get even more betterness from our yummy grain. And let's see here. And Terry in Scotland. Oh, that's how they did it. Okay. Yeah, I did know. For those of you who don't know, Terry in Scotland is currently battling in the most positive of ways bladder cancer. And so it sounds like, is being treated with some of the most high-level next tech immunotherapy type treatments for this. And it's a bacterial treatment that they're giving him. And I don't know if I'm pleased to hear that you needed a thin catheter to inject the bacteria in your bladder, but I am glad to know that you are no worse for the wear, because very rarely do I ever hear anyone saying the word pleased and catheter in the same sentence. That's just never, I've never heard those words in the same sentence. That's all, until now. But let's see here. All right, so now that we're getting downright personal with our corn and our medical treatments, maybe we should go back to science. Shock, it took a very long time to derive modern maize from what is essentially a grass. This was the major feat of agricultural magnificence from Mesoamerica. Yeah, absolutely. When you look at what we know as corn today started out as, truly was like basically little grass. And it's pretty amazing the crossbreeding that the ancient Mesoamericans did to get what we've got now. There's so many varieties of corn, but even if we only had one variety of corn, it would still be very impressive. Just like, I don't know who exactly was responsible for this, but I do know that I'm 90% sure this didn't happen in America. But for those of you who don't realize it or know it, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, kale, broccolini, obviously, cabbage, I think there's other stuff too. They all come from the mustard plant. And, cauliflower, another one. They all come from the mustard plant. And the mustard plant was crossbred and hybridized to create, little buds of glory, and that's the Brussels sprouts. Big cabbages, some for the flowers, some for the buds, and basically it all stems from one little mustard seed, and there's a million other examples. I'm sure watermelons are probably another perfect example. In fact, actually, I was thinking watermelons would be a perfect example because there have been plenty hybridized ones, and they have to have probably come from a gourd or a squash or something, right? And Robert, were you here when I did the watermelon taste test? Because I actually did a watermelon taste test between a seeded and unseeded, a black, a yellow, and the yellow one was the yellow one was gross. And I thought I was about to talk about fruits and veggies that were engineered. Well, I mean, define engineered, because technically you could say that corn has been genetically engineered through hybridization, but I don't think that's not what I mean by engineered. When I say engineered, I mean like genetically modified, so weirdness happens. But that's okay. Yeah, from the mustard plant. They're all brassicas. Shock coming in with the beautiful scientificals. And yeah, they're all from the mustard plant, brassicas. And let's see here. And Verity, it's just weird how they've pumped up this one variety of corn when there are so many to choose from. Like, that's with lots of stuff, I guess. Well, yeah. First off, Rick, exactly. So how in nature would a seedless watermelon even be allowed? I wonder the same thing, Rick. They have in Taiwan seedless mangoes. Explain to me that one, right? I mean, it just, I don't understand. And Verity, I think a lot of the reason why in modern grocery parlance, yeah, real bananas had seeds. Yeah, back in the day they had seeds as well. Well, I mean, they still technically kind of do. They're just way tinier. But I think what it is, and Robert, isn't human-caused genetic modification engineering? No, because you could say that, in my opinion, no. And this is an opinion that is not shared by most people, it seems. But hybridizing is human-caused genetic modification. I'm talking about when you split open that genome and do weird stuffuses with it. That to me is genetically modified. But I realize that not everybody uses that as their barometer of what they call genetically modified. So once we start talking about genetically modified, it gets really sticky because people start using different definitions of what they're talking about. I personally am not comfortable with humans getting into their genome and doing some things, making it so Roundup doesn't kill the corn, but it does kill all the other plants around it. Like, that's disturbing to me. Whereas, like, if you just crossbred, a tomato to make this tomato a beautiful, more red tomato, because you took a red potato or tomato with the other red tomato and made it super red, that's a different story. You know what I'm saying? Like, you'll defer to me. You're smarter than me, I can tell. Oh, honey bunches. Trust me. I'm sure you're smarter than me in a lot of areas. Right, yes, exactly. Like our friends at Monsanto. Exactly. That is where I have a problem with. I don't have a problem with, crossbreeding stuff to make them tastier or different. Shoot, they've crossbred broccoli and cauliflower to make a really ugly thing called a broccoflower. That's cool, because you just crossbred some flowers. I'm not, yeah. But I do think, though, to go back to what you're saying, Verity, I think it was Verity, I think the reason why, yeah, it is, Verity, I think the reason why we end up with, like, one really popular variety that gets sold everywhere, that gets marketed, blah, 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 is because they're easier to transport. So many vegetables are, very delicate, and shipping them far away creates bruised, rotten, damaged, unpleasant-looking fruit that doesn't look good in the grocery store, and people don't want to buy it. And so I think for most modern American grocery stores, this is all I can speak of, a lot of the produce that we get has been hybridized and created to ship well, store long, look pretty, and it doesn't necessarily mean that it's tastes the best, which is why, like, heirloom tomatoes are those ugly ones that are all the weird colors and all the weird bumpies, but the heirlooms taste so good, right? They're not pretty, but they taste good. And Robert Platinum, I call cauliflower racist broccoli. And Pinnell, that is true stuff, Pinnell. GMO corn actually made me constipated. So unnatural. Totally, dude, because if anything, corn is supposed to kind of do the opposite, isn't it? I'm sorry, I'm not trying to, like, I'm not trying to make fun of that medical ailment that you suffered from. But for real, dude, isn't corn supposed to, like, be the opposite of constipated. And let's see here. I won't use any pesticides or herbicides since they're linked to Parkinson's sensitivity. Yeah, I don't generally use any herbicides or pesticides either. I do, however, use a vine killer on this invasive species of blackberries that is all over the Pacific Northwest. And once they get into your yard, you're kind of screwed. You are kind of left with chemical warfare only. That being said, I literally only spray those plants, and when they're near another plant, I will paint the poison onto them so it doesn't get onto the other. Plus, they're systemic. They don't invade the soil, and I'm not eating them after I spray them, so... But pesticides, I don't use any pesticides in my garden. And not only do I not use any pesticides in my garden, I actually... And this is probably something I don't want to admit to. I don't really have the ant problems that other people have in their yards. And I kind of feel like it's because my bug biosphere in my yard is balanced enough that the ants don't really ever get out of control. Now I know that now that I've said that out loud, famous last words, my ants are going to be coming in my house like nobody's business. But, but until before and prior to now, ants have not really been my problem the way other people in my neighborhood, have had the problem. And trust me, I know I have ants in my yard. It's not a case of, oh, you don't have ants. Trust me, I do. But they just stay in my yard. They don't come into my house. And I like that. And also, trust me, this is not something I'm bragging about, but my house isn't really clean. Like, there's cat food, crumbs all over the floor. If the ants wanted to find something to eat, oh, trust me, dude, they could. With that, 2 inches within my house, they'd be like, hey, here's a hoard of food for to survive the entire colony for the next year and a half. So it's not like I'm keeping a clean house that keeps the ants out either. And Shock, tolerated a hornet's nest all season until Scott got tired of it and filled in the hole in the ground. Well, okay, a hornet's nest. Actually, in my roof, my guy who was painting my house did, now that I think about it, spray some hornet's nest killer on that. So you know what? I lied. I did use a pesticide in my yard. I'm a big liar. But Verity, yeah, white cleaning vinegar. White vinegar is super good. And yeah, only buy tomatoes in the season. They're awful every other time of the year. Absolutely. And yeah, Robert Platinum, the blackberries, they are pretty good. They're not as good as the native blackberries. But the thing is I don't need blackberries in my yard in order to get the blackberries, because the blackberries are literally... they're literally everywhere. Everywhere. I could walk a half a block in either direction and find a blackberry patch. When you're driving along the freeways of the Pacific Northwest and you notice this incredible greenery that's just covering all the hillsides, those are all blackberries. It's just so many blackberry vines. And the vines are like this big around, right? They're big. And they literally grow like a ½ inch a day during the growing season. And the growing season is like 5 months out of the year. So they can be like 60 flippin' feet long by the end of the flippin' flirpin' growing season. And yes, I'm having blackberry fatigue. And yeah, Scottish bramble preserves are to die for. I have no doubt in my mind that they are. And Verity, tell me about it. It's the thorns. And when you've got a vine that is literally 1.5 inches thick, you've got thorns that are like a ½ inch wide and tall. Yeah, it's just, yeah. And Pinnell, you're going to try more veggies under your grow light this winter. That's super awesome. Have you done that before? And if so, what vegetables have you had success growing over winter under your grow light? Wonder could you do potatoes inside, I wonder? I mean, I know you'd have to have a lot of dirt. I've never heard of anybody growing potatoes inside, and I don't know why I just thought of that. But, and I'm gonna guess that you probably don't grow corn under your grow lights, because corn likes it super hot, and I don't think a grow light could get that hot. But yeah, what do you grow? Because I've heard of a lot of people doing, having fresh herbs all the time over the winter with grow lights, etc. But like actual veggies, cucumbers. Oh my God, you have a carrot and a beet growing now. Oh, so you actually are growing the root veggies. Carrots, huh? I am interested. I can never get carrots to grow in the real life, in the real world. But maybe inside under a grow light. Part of the reason why carrots are so hard to grow in my soil is the soil is so rocky that it just doesn't. And Sharon grows a lot of Philippine veggies, but Midnight Frequency Radio, inside or outside? Or does she have a greenhouse? And Terry, I diced Lihing mango onto granola cereal today. Success! And Pinnell, broccoli is starting to grow. Well, now that is a logical one to grow inside because broccoli is a cool weather crop that doesn't require massive amounts of bright sunlight. And broccoli, y'all, I saw earlier y'all were talking about the tomatoes and how tomatoes just do not taste right after, unless they're fresh off the vine, etc., etc. Have you ever had broccoli fresh off the vine? No, have you ever had freshly harvested broccoli? It is nothing like any broccoli the store can ever give you. It's sweet, it's delectable, it is. For those of you who don't like broccoli, I love broccoli, but I can understand why someone wouldn't. And it's that musty essence, that broccoli funk, is I'm guessing why you wouldn't like it. And I will tell you right now, freshly off the vine, freshly harvested, there's no funk. It's just sweet. There's no funk. Ain't no funk in the broccoli when you freshly harvest it. It's the best. Broccoli freshly harvested, I dare say, is even better than a tomato freshly harvested. And I understand those are fighting words. All right. And your grow light is 2 feet long. Yeah, I used to grow a bunch of basil and stuff under a nice little 2 foot long grow light. That's a very good start there. And at Midnight Frequency Radio, both, she has some potted stuff she brings in when it starts to get cold. Right on. So what are some of the things that she grows, or do you even know what they're called? Or I guess, would we even know when you when you tell us what it is? Would we even know what they are? And you're waiting for Brussels sprout season to start. Benny Bo told me mince pies are in Tesco right now. Yum. I love a mince pie. Brussels sprouts, are actually quite delicious, especially when they're fresh. And Elaine, I had teeny carrots growing along my front steps, but the landlord sprayed for termites around the house, so I pulled all the growths around the house. No way eating those. Right. Yeah, no, definitely don't. And Midnight Frequency later. Oh Lord, I can't spell half of it. Yeah, I had a feeling that might. I had a feeling. And let's see here, broccolini. Broccolini does sound easy to grow. Broccolini, for those of you who don't know, is sort of like broccoli, only instead of like one big bunch of broccoli with a big flowery head, it's like thinner stalks of broccoli with a tiny little tree head. And broccolini, from what I understand, is a little bit more, for lack of a better word, bitter, but that's not really the word I'm looking for. It's sort of like arugula, you know, how that's got a sharpness to it. It has a different flavor profile than broccoli, but it's very similar flavor profile to broccoli. And let's see here. Broccoli is, broccolini sounds easy. I've never grown broccolini, but broccoli is really easy to grow. I love broccoli from the garden. So much better tasting, says Darlene. Absolutely. Same with carrots too. Yeah, actually, I'm pretty sure that's true. And I love butternut or acorn squash as well as better from the garden. I got 4 huge butternut squash this year. They store great in my basement holding space. Oh, your basement holding space. Are you? Oh, I see you're bragging about your root cellar. Darlene bragging about how she got herself one root cellar. Not everybody has a root cellar, Darlene. It's okay though. I'm glad you do. And oh, Mama Sean in the house. Here we go. And Arugula, the brother of famous emperor of Rome. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there you go. And let's see here. What did I, are Roma tomatoes a type of tomato? Absolutely. They are a type of tomato. They are a type of tomato that is called, there's the indefinite harvest and there's the definite harvest, I think is what they're called. And one of them keeps growing throughout the season and produces fruit throughout the season. Roma tomatoes are the type of tomato that basically have one crop every year. The plant grows, then they go to bloom, then the fruits show up, and then you harvest the fruits pretty much all at once, and that is the crop for the season. It won't keep growing beyond that crop. Roma tomatoes also are less seedy, and they're generally considered better for cooking because they've got more meat and flesh to them as opposed to liquid. And then Roma tomatoes are, the tomatoes traditionally used for Italian cooking sauces. And I like Romas on pizza. Romas, I'm sure you do, and Romas to me are a way better cooking tomato than the average, like a beefsteak tomato. Those are one of the stereotypical, slices with the seeds and the gooey, juicy stuff. Those are generally better for like sandwiches and or in hamburgers. And our pole bean plants reached up into the smoke tree. Now we have beans growing 10 feet off the ground. Yeah, that's the problem with pole beans. And unfortunately, my boss, she does this every year and it kills me. She's got these raised garden beds that are like, 3 feet off the ground, the garden bed. And she did it so she doesn't have to bend over and, harvest. Only she plants the pole beans in the raised garden. So we're already starting at the ground, which is 3 feet above the ground. And then they go another, and it's like, how am I supposed to harvest? So all of those, half the beans never get harvested because they're too high up. They're just too high up. And let's see here. Okay, Terry in Scotland came in. Hold on. Yeah, okay, so Picola tea, mince pie. Yeah, there's this thing called all right, there's 2 things that never made sense to me in my growing up life. But in Canada, or my Canadian relatives, they always, during the holidays, they loved 2 things in the holidays like nobody's business. They used mincemeat for their pies, and then they had mince stew. Mince stew was basically just ground beef made into a stew. But mince meat, why, that has no meat in it at all. It just has some suet, some spices, some raisins, some apples, some blah, 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 blah. And you use those in pies and tarts. Mince meat is very delicious, even though there's no meat in it. Mince stew, which does have meat in it, is only as good as the seasonings. And let me just tell you right now, my Canadian family, their idea of seasonings is like ketchup. So maybe salt and pepper. So mint stew in my mint stew in my world is not very tasty. It could be. See, here we go. Terry in Scotland coming in. Mince and tatties is ground beef and potatoes. But mince meat is a pie filling that has no meat in it. You heard me right. Mince meat has no meat in it, and it's used in pie. Mince, well, that's just meat. Yeah, so welcome to my Canadian life. And seems like mince pie filling I saw in the States was Beatrice brand or something like that. I don't know, although I have to say I don't remember. I mean, I don't think I've seen that brand because I would remember that brand. My mom's name was Beatrice, and Beatrice mince pie filling that label would stick in my head like nobody's business. So, and I make everything with lots of spices. My Canadian family always has. Yeah, well, mine did not. Let's just put it that way. Salt, pepper, and ketchup were like, they're big things. So, they were of strictly of English heritage, apparently. And Terry in Scotland, mincemeat is apples, raisins, and spices, mostly allspice. Yeah, although a lot of it also has suet in it, Terry. If you look at the label, you'll see that it's got suet. The brands that we used at my house all had suet in it. And the best meat for sandwich is live cheese. I don't know if I want to know what that is, but I'm going to ask you, Carl, what the... Oh, is liver cheese. Okay. I don't know what you... No, that's okay. I mean, no, your spelling is no big deal. But when you say liver cheese, I don't understand what that is. It's liver mixed with cheese? Is it sort of like a liverwurst? Is it like head cheese? Is it like a pimento loaf? Is it... I'm going to have to maybe look this up. But here we go. Robertson's. Now, see, that label sounds more like it rings bells. Robertson's traditional mincemeat is a popular brand available in 411-gram size, imported from the UK, and commonly used for making mince pies. It features a fruit flavor and contains ingredients such as sugar, apple, raisins, sultanas, candied mixed peel, palm oil, treacle, currants, and spices. This product has a customer rating of 4.1 out of 5 stars. Oh, see, I don't think, okay. Nowadays, it's made with palm oil, I'll bet. But back in the old day, before palm oil was a thing, it was suet. It was suet. Okay, so it's a lot like Braunschweiger. Okay. So sort of vaguely-ish like liverwurst, I guess, too, in that texture. I've never had that, but I know people who really dig on, well, the Braunschweiger at least. And for those of you who have dogs who hate to take medicine, let me just tell you, Braunschweiger or liverwurst is the best thing when you've got a little pill that you want them to eat. Put them in the meat, wrap them in that Braunschweiger or the liverwurst, and they will love it. They will love it. And let's see here. Darlene bragging about her tomato jam recipe, which sounds really good. And your mother made mincemeat pies with suet. See, Pinnell, finally coming in. Okay, I wasn't just making that part up. The suet was definitely a thing. And yes, they suck it right down. And yeah, dog crack. And None Such Classic. Whoa, wait. All right. Borden's None Such Classic mincemeat is marketed as a gourmet option with no high fructose corn syrup, artificial colors, or harmful preservatives. And it's made with real raisins and dried apples. It's available in a 27-ounce pack. And it's described as a versatile filling for pies, tarts, or even as a topping for desserts. There you go. I prefer a mince tart to a mince pie because I like the crust to filling ratio in a tart better. But that is just me. Another thing that is just me is we're running late because I've been babbling about food. Can you even imagine how that would happen? And it is, oh no, Darlene, your dog was too smart. It didn't work for my Murphy. He would mouth roll the lump of Braunschweiger and then spit the pill out. Not kidding. Oh, I hate it when dogs are too smart for their own good. Oh. All right, well, now that we're talking about dogs, I don't have a song about a dog. I don't have a song about a dog, but okay. I do have a song about getting things right. Until I get it right. We haven't heard that song in a really long time. So now it is 3 minutes past our Lono listening break. So let's listen to some Lono. And we can think about suet and meat back in the day.
Mister, can you see? She said, I'm dating this guy who is moving away from me. Yeah, should I stay? Should I go? I said, lady, I don't know. I could never get it right on my own. I don't wanna waste your time. So to keep you off my mind, I don't wanna
You'd think you would think I know when that video is going to be over. I've got a countdown. He does his hand. Why do I do this every time? The most wonderful transition back to my face. Takes 18 hours and 43 buttons. Anyway. So raw broccoli is good in salads. I am not a fan of raw broccoli at all. Although I can appreciate why you would like it in salads because it does add a nice texture. But yeah, broccoli's got to be cooked for me. In fact, actually, most vegetables need to be cooked for me. I just don't. But let's see here. I just got 2 packages of cauliflower soup. It reminds me of my home. Explain to me packages of cauliflower soup. Because I make cauliflower soup, and it's delicious, but I don't know if I've ever even seen a can of something like cream of cauliflower, or what, like, is it a can, or a soup mix, or... I want to know, because sometimes it's a pain in the arse to make cauliflower soup. So if I can, I love cauliflower soup. So if I can just like get a package of it, so it's just dried, huh? Okay. And let's see here. I prefer cooked broccoli only because lately I digest better. That's actually every reason why I prefer cooked. I prefer it. I prefer cooked vegetables for reasons of both ends. It tastes better coming in, and it just works better inside. And let's see here. Okay, so wait. Yuck. Terry in Scotland. I knew an old man in North Wales who came to America during World War II to teach the Yanks how to make torpedoes. He missed succotash. There are no lima beans over here. Broad beans are close. Okay, first off, I didn't know that lima beans were part of succotash. I do know that succotash is like corns and bean, but I didn't know it mixed, but I didn't know it had to be lima beans. But I literally don't understand. They don't have lima beans in the UK? They don't have lima beans in the UK? Do they have butter beans? Do they have butter beans? They've got to have butter beans. Do they have butter beans in the UK? How do you not have lima beans? Beans dry and store and ship very well. Well, lima beans and butter beans are the same thing, aren't they? Only one's green and one's yellow. But butter beans are the same thing as lima beans, I thought. I've been told. I know, shock. I'm moving to the UK now. Lima beans are gross. They are gross. And butter beans are equally gross. But yes, they have butter beans. Terry's saying no, butter beans and lima beans are not the same thing. He's even getting, hell no, not the same. I'm gonna have to look this up, my friend, because I feel like I've read that they're the same things. And Mama Sean, sounds like you have good taste. I like most beans except lima beans. And see, shock is coming in. Butter beans are ripe lima beans. See, yeah, okay, you guys, I'm not kidding when I say I already have in the back of my mind a stream where we're going to talk about beans and how all green, it really actually started out as green beans and what's the difference between green beans and string beans and runner beans and pole beans and blah, 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 blah. But now we've got this lima bean, butter bean issue. Boy, howdy, we are going to, I'm not going to tell you when, I don't know when it'll be ready, but I am going to do a deep dive into the bean pot, and we're going to have ourselves a conversation about some beans. green beans and broad beans and butter beans and shelled beans and dried beans and fresh beans. All right, there we go. And I look like most beans. Limas are good, and natto, of course. Oh, we're just going to ignore what Picolati just said. Natto. You can have all the natto in the world. And your Aubuchon Steve lima beans and added sugar to the water. I don't think I would like the lima beans any better. I mean, I do, in theory, think I'd like the taste better with the sugar. But part of my problem with lima beans is the texture of the inside is too powdery. And the skin holding the texture-y, powdery stuff together is too tough. It's all a texture thing when it comes to lima beans. And so let's see here. Shot coming in. Fully ripe dried beans are chock full of chemicals plants make to discourage you from eating them. That's why they must be soaked and processed more than fresh beans like green beans or long beans. And here we go. Terry in Scotland. A lima bean, also commonly known as butter bean, Siva bean, double bean, or Madagascar bean, is a legume grown for its edible seeds or beans. Although lima beans and butter beans are the same species, they are sometimes considered distinct in culinary uses, the former being small and green, the latter being large and yellow. In areas where both are considered to be lima beans, the green variety may also be labeled as baby and less commonly as junior. Hey, C Honda, good to see you. So see, they are the same. They're just different. And Mama Sean, your son's girlfriend likes natto, but she lived in Japan for a few years. There we go. There we go. And Verity, I love all beans, but they don't love me. And yeah, that's true for a lot of people, actually. And according to Carl in Arkansas, or Midnight Frequency Radio, beans don't like me, and my family doesn't like me when I eat beans. And Shock, yes, it's the texture with the lima. It's just gross. It's just gross, man. But, you know, it is getting to be harvest season. It is getting to be the fall. And so I'm sure it's time to get those lima beans, those butter beans, those broad beans, those navy beans, those pinto beans, those red kidney beans. Gross. I hate red kidney beans. Chickpeas are a good bean. Absolutely. It's probably time to harvest all them because the leaves are falling off the trees, and that is, generally speaking, fall. Because the leaves are falling. That's why. And you know, once the leaves are falling, there's a segue that I'm pulling in here. Once the leaves are falling, sometimes you end up seeing pictures, or seeing things like this. And I was just wondering if you guys knew what, no, there we go. If you guys knew what these things are. When you see them in the trees, I always thought that they were birds' nests. I know, Shock. That's why I said, oh no. So I said, oh no. Oh good. She didn't music. You didn't see the caption. Excellent. Yeah, well, they are a nest of sorts, but not a bird's nest. And a few years ago, I know, Rick, shush. Exactly, Darlene. There's squirrels' nests. So check this out. A few years ago, I started paying attention when the fall was falling, and I started seeing little clumps of stuff in branches, and I just assumed that they were birds' nests. And so I asked one of my friends, it's like, what do you think those are? You think those are birds' nests? And what they said blew my mind. They said, no, I don't think they're anything. I just think it's where a whole bunch of leaves got caught in the tree. And I thought to myself, you're stupid. And I don't even remember who it was that said this, but I did think to myself, that's a stupid answer. There's no way that in some random trees, in some random branches or cross branches have this huge, just because they halt. No. And as it turns out, I was right. I didn't know what they were until now. But if you see these little things in the trees, know that is where squirrels live. And I thought this particular squirrel's nest was very impressive. It's made with nothing but pine needles. And so this winter, for those of you who have deciduous trees and who have squirrels in their area, I want you to look up during the winter and see if you can find any of these types of things in your area. And Terry's coming in, so as the trees lose their foliage, you may begin to notice large, round clumps of leaves in the branches. These are squirrels' nests, also known as drays. In Massachusetts, eastern gray squirrels, red squirrels, and northern and southern flying squirrels all make drays. Western gray squirrels do as well. And if you have to wonder, what is it that goes on in one of those drays? Well, here's the deal. I got ourselves a BBC video all about it. Let's look at the little things.
Now that they're pregnant with the next generation of recruits, the females' thoughts turn to building a solid predator-resistance headquarters where they can raise them. These squirrel drays are warm and waterproof, an outer layer of interwoven twigs with an inner lining of moss, leaves, fur or feathers. It can take several days and a lot of hard work to build this brushwood bivvy, but the effort is worth it. A well-built HQ will last for several months and give new recruits the best possible start. The females settle in and vigorously defend the dray against all comers. By setting up a temporary perimeter, they prevent interference with their young and reserve local supplies for their new families. Six weeks after the long chase through the trees, and in the comfortable safety of a brushwood bivvy, baby squirrels are finally born. Initially, they're blind and helpless, but the claws, vital equipment for a treetop lifestyle, are already well developed. At 3 to 4 weeks, they're no longer naked. They are increasingly active, their fur has grown, and their eyes begin to open. At about 6 weeks, they're ready to take their first tentative steps outside. And by 8 weeks, they're exploring their new world in earnest. A young squirrel's first missions outside the nest are fraught with danger. In this new world, there's much to be frightened of, but the new recruits can't cower forever. Some things, like the hawk, are obviously deadly. Others are frightening, but in reality, quite harmless.
And Rick coming in with some hardcore truth, actually. Squirrels have a much better wardrobe than rats. They look so cute in their fur, luxurious even. But when you see them up close, they're just nothing but better dressed rats. They're just furry, furry rats. And I say this as someone who's had to deal with more than one corpse of each kind. And the reality is, squirrels are just fluffy-tailed tree rats. They just are. I love squirrels. I love watching them. But the reality is what the reality is. And let's see here. And Terry coming in with the info behind the voice. Sir David Frederick Attenborough is a British broadcaster, biologist, natural historian, and writer, first becoming prominent as a host of Zoo Quest in 1954. His filmography as a writer, presenter, and narrator has spanned 8 decades. It includes the 9 nature documentary series forming the Life Collection, Natural World, Wildlife on One, the Planet Earth franchise, The Blue Planet, and Blue Planet 2. There you go. And Facola T used to have a treetop view from our 8th floor DC condo. We'd see lots of branch baby balls in winter. Exactly. And yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. So true, says Verity Hunt. I've seen birds and have a couple of hanging baskets with cocoa liners that you have to replace every year because they go for the fibers by ripping up the lined hanging baskets. Actually, though, you know what? I think that that's kind of cool. That they're taking the cocoa, because honestly, I would rather know that my squirrels are using a natural fiber as opposed to like the pink insulation that they're tearing from someone's attic. You know what I'm saying? Squirrels are a little bit sassier than rats. That is true. And no, Mama Sean, I had no idea that Jane Goodall passed today. Gosh, you know, how old was she? She had to have been, what, in her 90s or something? Oh, she was 91. Right, there you go. Well, I hope that it was a silent, quick, easy, you know, inner sleep kind of thing and not too much suffering. But, you know, I feel like, not that I think that, you know, each person is destined into this life with one purpose and blah, blah, blah. But if that is the case, she fulfilled her purpose, man. She made her mark. She was an amazing lady for sure. And let's see here. You feed them and the crows, upside crows, 0 slugs or snails here. There you go. And let's see here. Terry in Scotland, starlings are flying rats. Tell me about it, Terry. Tell me about it. And you think that they're rats where they belong? Because they belong in England. They don't belong in the United States. Some idiot Shakespearean society mother forker back 100 some odd years ago decided to release some starlings in Central Park of New York City. And now they're all over the United States, taking over everywhere. You think they're flying rats where they're supposed to be from? Don't get me started on the starling. Man, every time my cats kill a starling, I give them applause and treats. They need to, they need to just not be here. And, if they're in a nice and dry, warm attic, they ain't gonna leave unless forced out. And let's see here. Oh, she was on a speaking tour when she passed. Wow. Y'all, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I'm lazy. If I'm 91, I'm not leaving my house. And, let's see here. One time my ex-boyfriend and I heard squirrels in the walls of our apartment. We feared they would be trapped, expire, and rot and smell in there. Yeah, that is a very valid concern. Squirrels, rats, yeah, it happens. I don't know how this happened, and I really don't know what happened, but this is the only thing I can think happened. 2 birds got in sort of the attic-y crawl space, ventilation space at my boss's house, but then they couldn't get out again, so they perished. And so luckily birds are tiny, they don't stink that much, but within like 6 hours, 2 dead birds just fell out of the ventilation fan in the entryway. And at first, you know, I walked in, I noticed I was the one who found both of them, and I was like, oh, the dogs brought in a dead bird, and we were like, okay, I guess the dogs brought in a dead bird. But then the dogs came over to like investigate what the hell was that. So it sort of became clear, like, oh, the dogs didn't even know that was there until right now. That was weird. And so I picked it up and put it in the compost bin, and then like a few hours later, there was another dead bird. At the time, they had no cats, and there was another dead bird, and I looked up, and I was like, they have to be falling from this vent, because it was right in the same place. We still don't really know where those birds came from, but there was literally, it's raining dead birds. Oh, it's raining dead birds is what was happening in the office one day. And, yeah. We had oh no. Right, yeah, we had a squirrel snuff it in our kitchen fan vent. Yeah, this was a fan vent where the birds were falling from. Luckily, they did not reek because, you know, they weren't that bad. And Terry in Scotland, starlings live somewhere in my roof. I hear them up there scratching and pecking around every spring. I hate the buggas. They don't even sing like birds. No, they don't. No, they don't. I have a bird that makes its nest every spring in a dead light fixture that's on the side of my house. And so whenever they make their nest, I can hear it. And where my bed is kind of like right under. It's like the wall amplifies their scratching and their nest building. But it's kind of nice that, you know, that they have a home at my home. And did I think it was the same bird? No, I knew it wasn't, because the first bird I had wrapped up in paper towels and gone to the compost bin, which is an automatic, like, you know, you have to press a button to open the thing and then you put that and then it closes. The dogs would not have been able to operate the compost bin to remove the bird and then bring it back. I was so confused, though, when that second bird showed. I was mildly confused when the first bird showed up, but it was like, oh, well, that's weird. But then when the second one showed up, it was just like, what is going on here? So, yeah. And let's see here. Grackles are the worst. I don't know if y'all have them where y'all stay, but grackles are the worst. What is a grackle? I feel like, I mean, I know I've heard the word, but I'm getting it confused with gackling geese, which is a type of goose in my area. Gackling geese look almost exactly like Canadian geese, only they're just like tinier and they're like the size of a duck. And their wings are like a little bit stubbier, and so when they fly, it's like clearly not a Canadian goose. They're quite cute. But that's not what a grackle is. Gackling geese is not a grackle. And yeah, you know it's going to be a great day when dead birds keep falling from the ceiling. Yeah. Grackle, it's a bird with iridescence in its feathers, but it plants its eggs in other birds' nests and skivvies off to let other birds raise its young. Oh, that's so mean. Starlings have iridescent feathers too, at least during one part of the year. Well, that's so mean. But, you know, typically good-looking deadbeat dad. Right, yeah, exactly. Of course, exactly. Speaking of a typically good-looking deadbeat dad, apparently this kitty got very pregnant, and they think it's from a black and white tomcat. So we're very curious to know what her kittens are going to look like. And I'm very curious because even though I am a crazy cat lady, I have actually never had a cat give birth to kittens, because I always get my animals fixed up. Have any of you had experience with kittens being birthed in or near your presence? And for those of you who may have had that experience, how much longer are we going to have to wait till this kitten pops? I mean, because this is a young cat. My coworker has a cat that's indoor only. And one day, about a week or two ago, this cat showed up at her back door and was like, "Hi, I'm pregnant." And so then she was like, "Oh, yeah, she is pregnant." And so she got herself a nice little, you know, she got her, she's very friendly. And she put her in her basement. So she's got a heating pad. That's the heating pad. She's got all of her things, her foods, her waters, and she's eaten like 2 cans of cat food a day. And you can see, like, the kittens are doing well. You can see them. They're kicking, you know, you can see them kicking. And let's see here, Pinnell, my sister's cat had kittens in her closet. Kittens come out easily. Yeah, that's what she's figuring. And we know that, yeah, I know it's 61 to 67 days, but we don't know what we don't know when day 1 is. So we're currently at like day 7, maybe it's day 10, since she showed up. And when she showed up, she looked like she was gonna pop any minute. And now, well, it looks like she should have popped yesterday. So I was just curious if all y'all like had all these pictures, by the way, were taken today. And so I'm just curious. Her name is Sylvia, by the way, the kitty, her name is Sylvia now. And I'm just curious, like, good Lord, dude, how much longer are we gonna wait? Mostly because I just want to see the kittens. And also because she looks really uncomfortable. I mean, doesn't that look like she's just ready to pop? And see, Honda, we had a friendly stray give birth in our backyard. I witnessed part of the birth. Pretty neat. Nice. Most every animal gives birth relatively easy. Then there's US, which may change as we get back to the Paleolithic as we get back to the Paleolithic height and breadth in our skeletons. And let's see here. It's over when it's over and always right on time. Oh, Verity. Very wise words, but not helpful at all. And early signs of pregnancy. Yeah, she's already got... Her nipples have pinked up and out like nobody's business. She got herself some prominent nippers. And usually 16 to 20 days into the pregnancy, as the pregnancy progresses, noticeable physical changes such as distended belly and increased appetite become evident, particularly in the final trimester. Yes, she is eating multiple cans of wet food a day, plus you know, the dry food that's there. And I will check out Kitten Lady for tips. I will definitely check out Kitten Lady for tips. And let's see here. That's you? You eat 2 cans of wet food a day too? And your dry kibble? All right, so now that we don't know how many or when the babies are going to come, I have a question for you guys, and this is just for fun. Now that you're looking, we're going back to the pictures. How many babies do you think are in there? Darlene, yeah, being pregnant and towards the end, very uncomfortable. Glad when done birthing for sure. Even if it's hard birthing, glad when done. Yeah. Her face does seem very content, and I think that she's very happy and comfortable. I don't know if my coworker plans on keeping her or adopting her out once she has her babies. Picolate, you say 6. I think 7. I've said that she's been eating for 8. So she's one of them, which means 7 is in there. I think 7. Picolate says 6. eMusic says 4 to 5. Oh, no, the not helpful bit. Yep, that's me. Indeedly do. That is my mantra too. Not helpful. Yes, not helpful. And am I going to give her an epidural? No, I'm not going to. And Darlene coming with 6 to 8. I bet she looks pretty far along, especially if you can see the babies actually moving. See, Honda, at least 4. Yeah, at least 4. At least 4. Okay, so we're going from 4 to 8 is our guess. And unlike other birthing betting pools, I don't have we don't have a prize for this. We'll just have bragging rights. I knew that she was gonna get 7. Darlene's like, I called 8, Bea. Yeah, that's how we're gonna do it. We're just gonna get bragging rights. That's all you win, bragging rights. And okay, we've got 9 minutes left, and I had one more thing that I wanted to talk about. Yeah, she's young. No, Verity, we think she's young too. She looks young. She looks really young. And so you think 5. Terry's going with 7. 7's what I've got too. I say 7. So we will see. I'm hoping though that she'll have a black kitty, because black kitties are the best. I'm hoping that she'll have a calico kitty. I'm hoping that she'll have a tabby that is white and tabby. I'm hoping she'll have one of every kind, because I want kittens. They should be short hair though, because it sounds like that obviously she's short hair. And it sounds like the suspected father is also short hair. Then again, just because he's the suspected father doesn't mean he's the father of all of them, because it's not uncommon for mama cats to have more than one baby daddy per litter. Send the kittens to Terry. Yes, exactly. No, he can only have one, and I don't think, even if we track the shipment, I don't think it'll get there quick enough. But here we go. All right, you guys. I wanted to share with you one more thing because I thought it was neat. And so here we go. Boop.
Introducing the Grue Jay.
Boop. There we go. Check this out, you guys. They found a new hybrid bird in Texas. In Texas, they found a hybrid blue jay and a green jay. Green jay, closest without going over, we guess one. Mr. and Mrs. Aloha, that cat, I hope it's more than one, because if that cat only has one kitten in her, oh my goodness, that kitten will come out full grown. The kitten weighs more than the mother. But here you guys, check this out. In Texas, they just found out a brand new burb. They found a new burb. On the right-hand side of the screen is a thing called a green jay. And green jays are normally found only in Mexico. On the left-hand side of the screen is a blue jay. And blue jays are found north of Mexico. But, due to climate change and this, that, and t'other, green jays are slowly moving north. And so in Texas, they have found a hybrid between the two of them, and that is the bird in the middle. Now, to you or me, how would anybody even spot that bird is a hybrid? It looks like another version of a blue jay to me. But blue jays, real blue jays, traditional blue jays, they don't have that black mask. Green jays, however, do. And so this one astute birder was like, it's kind of weird. So they called in the people who know about the stuff, and they actually tracked the bird. They did DNA analysis. They did a blood draw, DNA analysis, and they realized it as absolutely indeed a hybrid of a blue and a green jay. So here is, green jays were in South Texas 25 years ago. Yes, exactly. They're slowly migrating further and further north. And so, here we go. By the way, I do have a map for this, but before that, I've got a video. So let's listen to the video while we can watch it too.
Introducing the Grue Jay.
It was discovered just outside of San Antonio.
A little less blue than Dad, but with Mom's mystique.
It has a black face patch that's very similar to the green jay.
It might not be super noticeable to your average backyard birder.
Brian Stokes is a PhD candidate at UT's Department of Integrative Biology. In 2023, he received reports of the bird, which he then photographed.
We have only seen one bird. Right now, it is considered anomalous.
Blue jays and green jays don't typically mate, sharing a common ancestor more than 7 million years ago.
We feel that it really is kind of a unique event, a bellwether, if you will, that, environments are changing very rapidly.
Professor Timothy Kitt says green jays used to live closer to the Mexico border, but changes to the climate have driven them north.
One of the things that we were wondering is, when they encounter blue jays, would that stop this expansion, that they would be antagonistic to each other?
Turns out they, were not.
This was a result of that there were very few blue jays around and very few green jays in the same place.
Now that we've seen one, could there be more? Well, maybe. But this bird, spotted again this summer, may not find love among its relatives.
The bird was interacting with blue jays, so there might be some interest on its side, but this could be your proverbial ugly duckling where the bird isn't the most attractive to its, to blue jays in the area or green jays in the area.
Now don't expect to see the Grue Jay here in Central Texas. While the blue jay is common to our area, the green jay isn't. In downtown Austin, Eric Hendrickson, KXAN News. Introducing.
And as promised, got ourselves a map right here. And so I probably shouldn't have to explain it to you because I'll bet you can figure out what you're looking at. But in case you can't, all those blue dots are sightings of blue jays. All those green dots are sightings of green jays. All those black dots are sightings of where both are overlapping. And so, even though this species de-evolved and separated from itself over 7 million years ago, they are now perhaps reintegrating and creating a whole new, potentially a whole new evolutionary, type of bird. Much like, as Terry in Scotland said above here, and this is also very true, newly identified grue jay isn't the only hybrid species born out of new habitat overlaps. Numerous growler bears, a crossbreed of grizzlies and polar bears, have been spotted over the last decade too. That is 100% true. And so, yes, we had a map today. So, we checked off a lot of important things today. We talked about food. We had a map. And at the beginning, we had some orcas. So, if that's not a complete show, I don't know what is, man. That's all you can ask for from Chatter with Statter. A little bit of food, a little bit of whales, and a map. So, and Pinnell, you've heard of coyote wolves around here. Not at all surprised, actually, that your area, I can't imagine that coy wolves are common in much of the U.S., but I can totally see how in British Columbia, in Canada, that would be the case. And exactly, Rick, nice change. Instead of extinction, we just get a whole new species. Exactly. All right, so it's 1 minute till the bottom of the hour, which means I probably should have stopped talking about 5 minutes ago. So I want to thank everybody for hanging out here and talking about all the new species. Cola T bringing out, we've got sparrows in Hawaii. Is that a sparrow and a parakeet? I don't know how I feel about that one. And let's see here, Verity Hunt, we've had a couple of years of seeing bugs that we've never seen before. Oh yeah, dude, the bugs, Rick mentioned this earlier, newfound bugs are coming, which means newfound birds are coming to eat them. Okay, you guys, we will hopefully hang out on Saturday. I don't remember what we're watching on Saturday. It is listed at the Statterbox of the Cinema Discord. And yeah, I wish I'd bothered to check that before I started my stream, but I didn't. So thank you guys so much for hanging out tonight, chattering along, hopefully learning a little something or other, and for sure teaching all of us the things that you know about what it is we're talking about. Hopefully we'll see each other Saturday, like I said, at MapStatter on Twitch. Remember, if you want to watch the Saturday streams, it's only on Twitch, and it's only at MapStatter. I am MadStatter. On Saturdays, I turn into MapStatter. Get it? All right, there we go. And Darlene, I thought I saw the Dark Crystal listed. I was thinking it was the Dark Crystal. So the Dark Crystal is going to be our movie on Saturday. It is a family-friendly movie. It's from the 80s. It's a Jim Henson production. Lots of Muppet-esque things. And Terry in Scotland, there is a movie I want you to get, but I can't remember what it is, so I'm not going to ask for it here. Mostly because I can't remember what it is. But there is a movie that I was like, oh, I want to see if Terry can get that for me. But right now I don't want anything because I can't remember what it is I want. Thank you, though, for the offer. I will take you up on it eventually. All right, mods, thanks for modding, even though I don't think we had too much moderation to mod. And thank you, chatters, for chattering, basically. And thank you, subbers, for subbing. Gift subbers for gift subbing. Biddy ears to biddy, etc., etc. And on Sunday, we'll have a chatter show again. And who knows what I don't know. We'll talk about stuff. Until then,